In this AZ-104 certification preparation video, we'll cover exam important questions from one of the most critical topics, Azure Virtual Networking. This is part 2 of the VNet series, where we continue breaking down concepts with clear explanations and real exam-oriented insights. You can watch our complete AZ-104 course and prepare to clear the exam on your first attempt. Course link is available in the description. You plan to use Azure Network Watcher to perform the following task. Identify a security rule that prevents a network packet from reaching an Azure virtual machine. Which feature should you use for the above task? The options are A, IP flow verify, B, next hop, C, packet capture, D, traffic analytics. This question asks which Azure Network Watcher feature specifically identifies network security group NSG rules that block or allow traffic to a virtual machine. You need a tool that tests whether a packet is permitted or denied based on configured security rules. Correct answer, A, IP flow verify. IP flow verify is the Azure Network Watcher feature designed to check if a packet is allowed or denied to or from an Azure virtual machine based on configured network security group NSG rules and Azure Virtual Network Manager admin rules. It tests traffic using 5-tuple information: direction, protocol, local IP, remote IP, local port, remote port, and returns access denied or access allowed, along with the specific security rule name that is blocking or permitting the traffic, and a link to the NSG so you can modify the rule if needed. This makes it the perfect tool for quickly diagnosing connectivity issues by identifying exactly which security rule is preventing a network packet from reaching your VM. Why the other options are wrong. Option B, next hop, identifies the next routing destination for packets leaving a VM, useful for routing troubleshooting, but doesn't identify security rules blocking traffic. Option C, packet capture, records actual network traffic to and from a VM for detailed analysis, but doesn't directly identify which security rule is blocking traffic. Option D, traffic analytics, provides insights into network traffic patterns, bandwidth usage, and security threats across your Azure environment, but doesn't test specific security rules for individual packets. Quick memory tip. Remember, IP flow verify equals security rule checker identifies which NSG rule blocks or allows specific traffic. Block traffic troubleshooting equals IP flow verify first. You have an Azure subscription that contains multiple virtual machines in the West US Azure region. You need to use traffic analytics in Azure Network Watcher to monitor virtual machine traffic. Which 2 resources should you create? The options are A, a storage account, B, a Microsoft Sentinel workspace, C, a log analytics workspace, D, a data collection rule, DCR, in Azure Monitor, E, an Azure Monitor workbook. This question asks which 2 Azure resources are prerequisites for enabling traffic analytics in Azure Network Watcher. Traffic analytics analyzes NSG flow logs, so you need one place to store the raw flow log data and another place to process and visualize it. Correct answer, A, a storage account, C, a log analytics workspace. Traffic analytics requires 2 core resources: a storage account to store NSG flow log data as JSON files in blob storage, and a log analytics workspace to process, analyze, and visualize the network traffic patterns. The storage account captures the raw flow log data from network security groups, while the log analytics workspace provides the intelligence layer where traffic analytics processes these logs at configurable intervals, 10 or 60 minutes, creates visualizations, identifies traffic patterns, detects security threats, and provides insights into application activity across your Azure networks. Both resources must be in the same region or in supported regions for cross-region scenarios. Why the other options are wrong. Option B, Microsoft Sentinel Workspace, is a security information and event management (SIEM) solution for security analytics, not required for basic traffic analytics functionality. Option D, data collection rule in Azure Monitor, is used for configuring data collection from VMs and other sources, but isn't specifically required for traffic analytics, which uses NSG flow logs. Option E, Azure Monitor Workbook, can display traffic analytics data, but is not a prerequisite resource. Traffic analytics has built-in dashboards in the log analytics workspace. Quick memory tip. Remember, storage for capture, log analytics for analysis. Storage account stores flow logs, LA workspace processes them. Traffic analytics equals storage account plus log analytics workspace. If this video is helping you, Support us by hitting the like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Note, this question is part of a series of questions that present the same scenario. Each question in the series contains a unique solution. You manage a virtual network named VNet1 that is hosted in the West US Azure region. VNet1 hosts two virtual machines named VM1 and VM2 that run Windows Server. You need to inspect all the network traffic from VM1 to VM2 for a period of 3 hours. Solution: from Performance Monitor, you create a data collector set, DCS. Does this meet the goal? The options are A, yes, B, no. This question tests whether Windows Performance Monitor with Data Collector Set DCS is the correct tool for capturing and inspecting network traffic between two Azure VMs. The key requirement is inspect all the network traffic. You need packet-level network capture, not performance metrics. Correct answer B, no. Performance Monitor Data Collector Set does not meet the goal because it collects performance counters and system metrics, like network bandwidth usage, packets per second, errors, but it cannot capture or inspect the actual network packet contents or traffic flows between VMs. To inspect all network traffic from VM1 to VM2 for 3 hours, you should use Azure Network Watcher Packet Capture, which records actual network packets to storage or local disk in .cap format that can be analyzed with tools like Wireshark. Packet Capture provides full packet-level visibility, including headers, payloads, and protocol details, which is essential for true traffic inspection and troubleshooting. Why Performance Monitor doesn't work? Performance Monitor DCS collects statistical data about network performance but doesn't capture raw packet data or allow deep packet inspection. It shows metrics like bytes sent, but not the actual content of those bytes or which applications ports are communicating. For network traffic inspection in Azure, you need Network Watcher Packet Capture or enable NSG flow logs for connection level visibility. Quick memory tip: remember, Performance Monitor equals metrics, packet capture equals actual traffic. Traffic inspection, use Network Watcher Packet Capture, not Performance Monitor. You have an Azure subscription named Subscription 1 that contains a resource group named RG1. In RG1, you create an internal load balancer named LB1 and a public load balancer named LB2. You need to ensure that an administrator named Admin1 can manage LB1 and LB2. The solution must follow the principle of least privilege. Which role should you assign to Admin1 for adding a health probe to LB2? The options are A, contributor on LB2, B, network contributor on LB2C, network contributor on RG1, D, owner on LB2. This question tests Azure RBAC best practices for granting load balancer management permissions while following the principle of least privilege. The key task is adding a health probe to LB2. You need the minimum role that allows managing load balancer configuration without excessive permissions. Correct answer B, network contributor on LB2. Network contributor on LB2 is the least privileged role that allows Admin1 to add and manage health probes on the load balancer. The network contributor role includes the Microsoft.network/permissions, which grants rights to create and update Azure load balancers, including health probes, backend pools, and load balancing rules. Assigning this role specifically at the LB2 scope, not the resource group, follows the principle of least privilege by limiting Admin1's permissions to only the public load balancer LB2, rather than granting access to all network resources in RG1. Why the other options are wrong. Option A, contributor on LB2, grants broader permissions across all resource types, compute, storage, etc., not just networking. This violates least privilege by providing unnecessary permissions. Option C, network contributor on RG1, grants permissions to all network resources in the resource group, including LB1, VNets, NSGs, and more. Too broad when only LB2 management is needed. Option D, owner on LB2, grants full control, including the ability to modify RBAC permissions and delete the load balancer. Excessive privileges for just adding health probes. Quick memory tip: remember, network contributor equals network resource management, sufficient for health probes, rules, backend pools. Least privilege for LB management equals network contributor at specific LB scope. You have an Azure subscription that contains two storage accounts named Contoso 101 and Contoso 102. The subscription contains the virtual machines shown in the following table. VNet 1 has service endpoints configured as shown in the service endpoints exhibit. The Microsoft.storage service endpoint has the service point policy shown in the Microsoft.storage exhibit. For the following statement, select yes if the statement is true. Otherwise, select no. VM1 can access Contoso 102. The options are A, yes, B, no. This question tests your understanding of Azure Service Endpoint policies and how they restrict which storage accounts can be accessed through service endpoints. Based on the exhibits, VM1 is in Subnet 1, which has a Microsoft.storage service endpoint with policy 1 that only allows access to Contoso 101 storage account. Correct answer B. No, VM1 cannot access Contoso 102 because VM1 is connected to Subnet 1, which has the Microsoft.storage service endpoint enabled with policy 1 applied. According to the exhibit, policy 1 only allows access to the Contoso 101 storage account resource. Service endpoint policies act as access control filters that restrict which Azure service resources can be accessed through the service endpoint on that subnet. Since Contoso 102 is not included in Policy 1's allowed resources list, any attempts from VM1 to access Contoso 102 through the service endpoint will be denied, even though the Microsoft.storage service endpoint is enabled on Subnet 1. Why VM1 is blocked from Contoso 102? Subnet 1 has Microsoft.storage service endpoint with Policy 1 applied. Policy 1 explicitly allows only Contoso 101, as shown in the Microsoft.storage exhibit. Resources. Microsoft.storage equals Contoso 101, storage account. Service endpoint policies use an allow list model. Only listed resources are permitted. All others are denied. VM1 traffic to Contoso 102 is therefore blocked by the service endpoint policy. Quick memory tip, remember, service endpoint policy equals storage allow list. Only listed storage accounts are accessible. Not in the policy equals access denied through service endpoint. To get the free PDF or mock test, comment PDF or mock or both. I will share the downloadable link within next 24 hours.